While the championship is in full swing, points racing may take a back seat tonight as the drivers of a Rolling Thunder Racing Series will jockey for position as they try and add their names to the list of winners at the racing capital of the world. Hello everyone and welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we welcome you to GSRC's live coverage of round 14 of a Rolling Thunder Racing Series. Tonight's race is presented by Mard Mechanical. Hi everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is Robert Covey. Behind the scenes is our director Eddie Smith and he's using cameras provided to us by Dougie Beard. Well, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, obviously the Brickyard, one of the most famous racetracks not only in North America but the world. There's many configurations of it. We're racing on the oval today. Let's take a closer look with our GSRC track guide.
Indianapolis, the Brickyard, the world capital of racing. No matter how you put it, quite simply, there is no place like Indy. Originally constructed in 1909, the 2.5-mile oval hosted a variety of racing events, including a hot air balloon race. But it wasn't until 1911 that the stars aligned and the first 500-mile classic was held, and the rest, as they say, is history. The original 3.2 million bricks that were laid down as a track surface were eventually replaced with asphalt, leaving only a 3 feet wide swath at the start-finish line, giving the speedway its famous moniker, the Brickyard. Today, Indianapolis stands as a testament of speed and endurance, with the 5/8 of a mile straightaways blending seamlessly into the 9.2-degree banked corners and allowing for cars to reach staggering speeds of upwards of 240 miles an hour. While each corner may look identical, every one presents its own separate challenge, with wind speed and direction playing a crucial part when it comes to car stability. Total commitment is required to send the car hurtling into turn 1, but aggression is not rewarded, as smooth hands are what is needed to lightly click the apex on each corner and power down the long straightaways. For spectators, Indy is unlike anything in the world. With race day attendance estimated to reach nearly 400,000 people, it proudly holds on to the title as the largest single-day sporting event ever recorded. To the pomp and circumstance on race day, to the silent majesty exuded in silence, there is no place like this in the world. It is spectacular, it is awe-inspiring. It is Indy.
Well, just like how the NASCAR Cup Series is going back to the Oval Series in 2024, that's what we're doing here today. Robert, why don't you take us around this track?
Well, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, iconic track, 9-degree turns, really high speed, long straights, really tempting to go 4 wide down the straights here, but you're not going to get through the turns that way, so you got to sort it out. Going to be really interesting to see how these guys drive the car around this track tonight.
Speaking of those drivers, we've got 24 in the practice session right now. Who are the drivers you're going to want to watch out for? Well, the driver leading the championship after the opening 13 of 20 rounds in this season is Dylan Jones. He has a 9-point lead over Scott Crump. He was able to extend that lead by winning last time out. Daniel Eberhardt is back there third in the points. He was quite dominant early on in the championship. You could also throw Weatherholt into that championship conversation if the top 3 were to have a bad race. But much more likely Weatherholt is going to be in the battle with the likes of Ryan Johnson and Jared Mogard there for 4th, 5th, 6th in the points. Jason Maines, our Daytona winner. We have Talladega coming up in a few rounds. Michael Larch, Luke Smith and Jordan Berube rounding out the top 10. Let's take a look at tonight's race details.
Well, tonight we move into round 14 of 20, 88 laps around Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval in the NASCAR Gen 4. These drivers are using a fixed setup and have no spare car. They do have 4 tire sets, and should we need it, 1 green-white checkered will be attempted to complete the race under green.
again, tonight's race being presented to you by Marriage Mechanical. Marriage Mechanical's flexible services and smart solution. You can find out more about them at marriagemechanical.com. Also be keeping an eye on Dean Gagliano tonight in the number 18 car. We'll be riding with them on his hood. The clock you see in the top left corner of your screen is counting down the time we have left in practice. So we're about to jump over to qualifying as time runs out on the practice session. Fastest drive in practice, by the way, is Bo Tiffany, but only by 0.02 of a second over Colin Weatherholt. Again, though, practice time's not always indicative of how well they're going to qualify or how well they're going to race. Everyone has different agendas during practice. But now it's qualifying and everyone has the same agenda, Robert. Go as fast as they can.
Yeah, practice. I mean, you get a little bit of a draft. You can pull up in behind somebody, but now it's just you're on the track, you're on your own. Get the car out there and get around that track as fast as you can. All four corners here really, really test the drivers in these cars. I've been watching them through practice, and the rear end really, really moves around a lot with the very low banking as we ride on board with Brendan Barker as he heads out for his qualifying. The cars, if you're behind them, they look like they're going through the corner sideways, which for all intents and purposes they are. So the drivers will have their hands full tonight.
So do we have clarification of if that's Brenton Barker's crew chief in the background there? Because that would be a smart idea in NASCAR to kind of put the crew chief in the passenger seat of the car. That would help him understand all the handling issues.
Well, definitely, and I mean, even if he's got him back there, watching, and if he's got a second machine, he could have him in spotter mode, letting him know what's going on in front of him, make sure he can keep him out of trouble, let him know if he's clear. Having a live spotter is a real advantage if you have somebody that can do that for you. I've watched quite a few people race where they have a live spotter compared to the iRacing or some third-party spotter, and just the moves they can make when they have a real live spotter is it's pretty amazing from time to time.
Brenton getting a little loose in turns 1 and 2 there. He was the first car to take to the track, so he will hold pole position at least briefly when he comes across the line to complete the first lap. But then everyone else will cross the line behind him or having the track themselves. Going back on that comment, actually, that the kind of joke I was making about having a crew chief in the car, that's the way things used to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Back in the early days of the Indy 500, they would have the driver and the mechanic in the car, but then they realized they were endangering 2 lives rather than just one in the event of a crash, as here we go, the first lap time starting to come in now. And so then they got rid of a riding mechanic, and that's how rear-view mirrors came around. Oh, and that means his second lap will not count there for Brenton Barker.
Yeah, that's going to cancel his lap.
So that's Seth Reed, who's currently fastest. Watching Colin Weatherholt here, he hasn't turned his first lap yet. And you can see these cars fighting oversteer, at least on cold tyres.
Yeah, I mean, every turn here, these cars weren't really designed for this style of oval. I mean, it's actually, it's not really an oval. It's more of a rectangle with, really, really tight 2 turns in succession. You see, you want to drift up into the wall there, come down, and you want to be really tight to that white border there, but you don't want to touch it because it's going to upset the car. And he might have scraped the wall there. That might have done that for his lap. We'll have to see whether or not one comes up here when he crosses the line.
He was too thrilled about that exit in the final turn. That was just his first lap, though. But still, it's got to be frustrating, Robert, because even though this second lap will count, his first lap didn't. That big moment he had coming out of turn 4 means he's going to be losing straight line speed, and that's going to be costing him time on that second lap. Even Dylan Jones, the points leader, into the wall exit in turn 4, and he's going to try and stop before he gets to the line, but look at the clock in the top left corner. He won't have time for another lap. Daniel Eberhardt to the point.
Well, who's not surprised that, to see him, take point here. He's shown how well he can drive this car and what he can do with it. Every single driver we've talked to all season long say he is the man to beat. he's the man to learn from. But you can see he's got his hands full too. Just, just turning that car sideways. And like I say, I was watching them earlier, and I mean, if you go straight behind them in the chase view and watch them go around these corners, I mean, the car is sideways all the way through the turn. So definitely a lot of wheel work going to be going on tonight. Those live cams are going to be really fun to watch.
Dylan Jones and Scott Crump, two big names, have yet to turn a lap. Jones is going through turn 4 right now, but he's just starting a lap, so that won't count because, of course, he hit the wall. So let's see. Scott Crump will be coming behind him, and I wonder if Scott Crump is going to have time to get to the line. The clock is running down. Let's see if he can do it. No.
Oh, that must be heart-wrenching, especially if he was on a good lap.
Well, we're going to have a mixed-up grid here. Several big names not turning a lap or turning a very uncompetitive lap time. But we do have Eberhardt taking that provisional pole. We'll give you a full grid readout once this warm-up session ends. So this is 5 minutes for the drivers to kind of take a break, stretch their legs, if you will. You guys can all go cook some popcorn, and looks like we already have cars going to the track. It used to be a time when they would do a driver's meeting, and maybe they're just pulling up at the end of pit road here, so that as soon as the driver's meeting is over, they can head out onto the big oval. Again, this is round 14. Go ahead, Robert.
I was just going to say, I just heard from race control there. They said, drivers, no, don't go out on track yet. Getting all their instruction from race control before they go out tonight, which I'm sure is going to contain a lot of, you need to sort it out before you get to turn 1 or turn 3. Because it is, I mean, I don't know. I've driven open wheel here. I've driven quite a few different vehicles here. And I mean, just the temptation to go 4 wide when you got a really good run down the front or back, and then you come into turn 1 and there's just no room. I mean, getting through there with 2 cars is really, really difficult. Getting 3, it's even more sketchy.
So soon we'll start seeing the cars rolling out onto the track again. We've got 24 drivers here tonight. And we were talking about how the points coming in are Dylan Jones and Scott Crump, both drivers that were unable to turn a lap in qualifying. So our 2 points leaders are going to have a work cut out for them. And to make matters worse, not only is the driver 3rd in points starting on pole, Daniel Eberhardt, but the driver 5th in points, Ryan Johnson, who we were talking about, could he get involved, mixing it up, fighting for the championship lead? He's had a good qualifying. He'll be starting 3rd, so this could be an opportunity for him.
Well, and the biggest change here, so in the last half of the season, is the organizer Justin Rideout is running, but he's not running for points, but he's running for a win. So he can really spoil it for another driver. Take away that position. Even if he finishes in front of you, it doesn't mean that you get the points for his spot. He's out there to be on track, race with these guys, and maybe really upset somebody's championship.
Here's a look of 9 of our different onboards we're going to have tonight. So that's 3/8 of a field. Some quick math there. 9 out of the 24 drivers. And there we go. You can see William Schwindenhammer turning the steering wheel. He's the first driver to take to the track as the drivers' meeting is over. And there'll be 2 minutes of on-track action here for warm-up. The drivers just get used to the circuit and how loose it's going to be on these opening couple of laps. Robert, you were talking about how tricky turn 1, lap 1 is going to be. With these setups, it's going to be extra tricky.
Well, and I've said, as we've gotten more guys coming on camera, you get to see all the different, different wheels they're running, different positions they're sitting in, triple screens, VR, crew chief behind you, just all the different aspects of running a race like this. And I think we're going to see everybody's hands moving around a lot tonight. Hopefully not for anything catastrophic, but these cars definitely move around a lot through the corners.
So this is William Schwindenhammer, going to be the first driver to kick them all off here. Basically, they'll have enough time for 1 lap. And then we'll get ready for 80 laps of racing action. You saw this is a Marad Mechanical 200 tonight, the Marad Mechanical 200, because 80 laps around here, 2.5 miles a lap, it comes up to 200 miles. Pit window, about 20 to 25 laps, so that means we're going to have 3 stops.
Yeah, 3 stops for these cars. It's really going to be, I mean, they don't really have to save fuel with the changes from that were made a couple races ago. They got a little bit more fuel load. They can push a lot more. But Indianapolis, as the car spins in the back there, is not known for tire wear. It's actually a really smooth track. Even though the corners are pretty tight, the tires will last. So this may come down to just, you know, when you pit on a normal cycle, grab tires, but we may see some drivers come in and, you know, add fuel during a caution if a caution comes out, just to be able to stretch it a little more, or come in with everybody and be able to take a less fuel load and shoot themselves forward in the field.
Yeah, high track temperature today though, so we'll see if that changes since about 120 degree Fahrenheit. And qualifying, or rather warm-up, comes to a conclusion, so let's take a look at your starting lineup. It's going to be Daniel Eberhardt starting on pole, just 1/1000th of a second ahead of Seth Reed. Ryan Johnson will start in 3rd position ahead of Bo Tiffany, who was the fastest in practice. Jordan Berube, who is hanging out in the top 10 in the points, will start 5th place ahead of Trevor Williams, and then league organizer Justin Rideout will be starting from 7th ahead of Drew Ballesteros. Jacob Manning, haven't mentioned him tonight, but he normally puts on exciting shows for us. He'll be starting 9th place ahead of Jason Maines, rounding out the top 10.
And in row 6, we've got Colin Weatherholt alongside Dean Gagliano, carrying tonight's sponsor on his car. Row 7 is Jeff Merck alongside Lane Doyle, with Luke Smith and Michael Larch in row 8. John Lewis and Sean Corcoran in row 9, with Brendan Barker and William Schwindenhammer in row 10.
Joshua Suss starting 21st is going to be the slowest driver who did turn a time. And then look at three race winners so far this season. I think 6 wins between these 3 names in total, so they've won almost half a races so far, and they're all going to be starting at the back. Scott Crump, Jared Mogard and Dylan Jones. Well, just one pace lap here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as you look at the yard of bricks with the pagoda in the background. Such a historic racetrack here, and hopefully we'll see a race worthy of virtual history. And there you see that track temperature, Robert. That's where I'd be a little concerned about these tires.
Yeah, and like I said, these cars already move around a lot, even in cooler temperatures. You know, fortunately, the wind's not really playing a factor on them here. But yeah, that track is definitely going to be slick here as they make their way and come around and you know, get on it to get into turn 1, and hopefully they can sort it out. Because like I said, even going through 2 cars through turn 1 can really is really risky move, especially in these cars.
We saw last week at Dover the trickiness of that racetrack led to a lot of incidents early on. While this track might not exactly be difficult on paper, with the setup that they're all running and with the fact that this car is just generally quite unstable, I wonder if there will be some lap 1 drama here. You talk about that wind, there's no wind in the air, but there's certainly going to be dirty air coming off of all of these race cars, so some cars may put themselves in a position that makes them loose or makes them tight here on the opening lap. Very aerodynamically sensitive because they're going to be going around here about 200 miles an hour in the draft. Well, the pace truck is about to make a hard left turn, cruising around here about 75, 80 miles an hour. So nice to know that these cautions won't last forever, but who knows, maybe we'll go green to the end. One thing I can tell you, we're going green now. Get ready for 80 laps of racing action here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The drama already. You saw Jacob Manning and Jason Maines get together in turns 3 and 4, and Jeff Merck just had a big moment coming off of turn 4, but was able to save it, and we stay green.
Yeah, I was just about to say there when they came across the line, everybody kind of played kind of nice there at the start. Kind of went single file through, all 4 turns. But yeah, right at the end there, I just saw there somebody getting a little loose as we ride on board here with Ryan Johnson, sitting in third right now behind Seth Reed. And we'll see how kind of wheel work he has to do through this corner here. Pretty smooth so far, but these cars really loosen up on exit, I believe, out of 2 here. We'll have to see what kind of, looks like he's pretty smooth there. A little bit, there's a lot of adjustment.
Yeah, see if he's able to get a run for second place. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of just content to ride in line now. No, he's not. He's going to take a look for second place underneath Seth Reed. And I think a problem we were seeing there is Daniel Eberhardt leading the race. Since he doesn't have dirty air, his car might actually be looser than everyone behind him, and that might prevent him from breaking away. By the way, we did have one car elect to start from the pits of Lane Doyle, but all 24 cars are still running, although a couple of them are scratched up.
A few little scratches isn't that bad as long as you haven't done any catastrophic to the car. I'm watching them. They're really flirting with the wall here on the exits, trying to let the car drift out and carry as much speed as they can. That's going to get kind of scary here as they get into a run. Nice fresh tires, a lot of grip right now, but that's going to go away when they get about halfway through a fuel run. So expect to see a lot of cars maybe just giving that wall a little kiss here and there.
Yeah, so too early maybe to talk about it, but there is a possibility that if anyone could save enough fuel in the draft to stretch to lap 26 or 27, they might be able to two-stop, but we'll bring that discussion up if we're still green flag racing in about 20 laps from now. Right now, with the way these cars are handling, it's very realistic we could have a caution before then. Currently riding on board Bo Tiffany, and Jordan Berube all over the back of him. In fact, he's looking down him for the inside. There he goes, up in 4th place.
Yeah, I lost so much momentum though by taking that deep line. Good job on him holding on to it, but Bo Tiffany, I think he thought better of maybe making the move back around him there. Just still early in the race. As you can see, he's going to get a run on him here down the straight. Maybe peek his nose out. But again, these guys have shown they can learn when they can go and when they can't. Makes for some great green flag racing from them. Great stats this year for, through 14 rounds of the number of green laps they've run compared to the number of laps they've run. So going to be a good show as usual. But yeah, I think once we get into the first cycle of pit stops, we'll see a little bit more action heat up.
Massive gap in between the first pack and the second pack. I'm wondering if the contact we saw between Manning and Maines on the opening lap created that gap. Scott Crump, of the 3 drivers who didn't qualify, he's been the biggest mover so far, up to 15th, but he's kind of trapped in the middle of that pack right now.
Yeah, and there he is, straight arm Crump. We talked about this before, just the way, he drives his hands straight out there. I don't know the reference to the real life driver that drives like that, but I mean, I don't know how he does it. My arms would be so tired being stretched out like that for an 80 lap race, but it works for him. He runs great. He's got a win under his belt. He's got podiums under his belt. So not going to fault him for the way he drives. That's for sure.
Ryan Johnson is going backwards. He tried to take another look for second place on Seth Reed in turns 1 and 2. It didn't work out for him, and he lost momentum, and he's dropped back to 4th place, maybe 5th place. So number 38 has dropped back a little bit. And here we catch up with the leaders. So it's still Eberhardt leading. And Ryan Johnson gets turned, locks it down. Is going to be able to keep off the wall.
This is going to take a few. And that's synonymous here for Indianapolis. It doesn't matter what car you're on. You come through 3 and 4, you come through turn 4, try and do too wide, and you just miss that. There's a small transition there in the track, and the rear end can just let go on you, which I believe happened to Johnson there.
Yeah, but it was Ballesteros, Tiffany, and Trevor Williams, who ended up tangling because Ryan Johnson got away with this. He avoided the wall, the other three not so lucky.
Wow, a lot of heads up there by a lot of drivers too. There could have been a lot more collected with that one car mid-track there. But yeah, just just rear end just kicked out, and the other drivers. No, actually, I think the 54. There was just a check up there, and nobody could do anything. Good job by, not sure who that was, but good evasive move because he could have really clipped that car hard.
And oh, there's the contact, and you can see he never quite got it sorted out. That's Drew Ballesteros in the 54 there, I believe, hitting the inside wall quite hard. And I can tell you that back live, everyone's coming into the pits. Now, I don't think they'll be changing tyres, but I would imagine everyone's going to be trying to top off fuel.
Yeah, definitely a fuel top up. Like I said, with the addition of the fuel, the last couple rounds, the drivers pretty much know after about 10 laps, if they come in and they fill up with fuel, they can definitely make it on a 3-stop and they can push all, for the entire race. So, pretty good decision by everybody here. Let's just all come in, grab our fuel, and let's race this out for another 70 laps when we come back to green.
Scott Crump and William Schwindenhammer stay out, and again, Crump, one of those who definitely qualified much further than where he belongs. So, as you mentioned, Robert, the advantage to pitting now is you can cut out one of those pit stops. Everyone who just pit can definitely get to the end on 2 stops. Crump and Schwindenhammer might be able to as well, but they might have to save a little bit to do that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Like I said, the tire wear isn't a lot here, but I mean, it's definitely an advantage. We've seen how much they've been sliding around here after 8 laps. So whether the tire wear is low or not, really hot track, these drivers are going to want to come in and do their stops and get those fresh tires on. It's definitely good to give them extra pace and give them a lot more confidence coming through these basically 90-degree corners for the rectangle of what is Indianapolis.
The 3 drivers who were involved in that wreck still in the pits getting repairs. Jacob Manning just left pit road, getting the damage repaired from his lap 1 incident with Jason Maines. And that's Lane Doyle maybe coming back into the pits, topping off with some more fuel. He started from the pits, so I'm wondering if he's just thinking survival for the first half of a race.
Yeah, it's a good possibility, and looks like they've decided Bo Tiffany is going to get the EOL for this one. I believe that he was the one that got into the rear end of Johnson there and kind of started that whole thing, so he will get the EOL, putting him back to the back of the pack.
Well, this is one nice thing about league racing on iRacing that you can't always do in official series racing, is you can let the leader dictate what that lane they want to start on. So Scott Crump is the leader. iRacing is probably telling him to start on the low line, but the league admins are saying, no, you can restart up high. So Scott Crump is going to try and use that high line to lead through turn 1 on the restart here. And for what it's worth, Robert, I did notice on the opening lap of a race, the cars that started up high, some of them got good starts. We saw Seth Reed start second, and he filtered right into second place.
Yeah, good. You want to get a good launch here. You want to get through turn 1 and 2 really, really quickly and by yourself, because you can carry a lot more speed, let the car drift up into the wall. And then just kind of, you're not necessarily going to pull away, but you can kind of dictate. If somebody wants that, where they have to go, want to take that position from you, you can dictate where they have to go to take those turns if they're going to try and take you in a turn.
Looks like we still have all 24 cars on the lead lap and everyone on the tyres they started with, although we're hearing Weatherholt may have taken his first set of tyres. Don't don't love that decision, but for what it's worth, if everyone's thinking of just two-stopping between now and the end of a race, they're only going to need 2 sets of tyres waiting for them in the pits anyway. So once again, Scott Crump is going to be controlling the field, despite the fact he's restarting up high as we go back racing here on lap number 9. Gets a nice little launch and is going to pull out a few car lengths over Seth Reed, who's being challenged from behind.
Look at Eberhard, just, threw that car in there and said, I want to go back up front. Probably not happy with where he came out of the pits. Keeping that car down low, and it's just watching him, how he handles this car sometimes just amazes me, what he can do behind the wheel of this thing. Put it somewhere everybody else cannot drive and get a huge amount of momentum out of it. It's just, sometimes it's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, but the flip side to that is this is the first time Eberhard has had to really race around traffic today. And now he's not able to make a move on Seth Reed. And Seth is going to try and make a pass on Swindon-Hammer. Let's see if he can make a low line work. It doesn't look like the low line is the best way to pass on.
No, and we've seen these cars are really, really loose, so they you really got to, hang on to it the tighter you take that. And these cars, the rear end is pretty loose to begin with, and to try and tighten that turn like you would say in an open wheeler, going down and getting right on that white line isn't always the best thing to do in a car like this.
Yep, sure enough, by going down low, Seth Reed allowed Daniel Eberhard to pass him for 3rd place. But the thing is, when the racing line down the straight is the high line, how do you pass the car in front of you up high? Because they're not going to leave that door open for you. And so if you do want to try and make a move on the car in front of you, the best thing you can do is what Eberhard's doing here. Get a run, pull it down low, and hope that you're far enough ahead into the turn that you can use up more of a track, or hope that the car on the outside hits the wall.
Oh, and that's a heavy hit on the wall there by, I believe that's Schwindenhammer. He had a really good run going there, and it just, he just miscalculated where the wall was. That's going to drop him back the pack heavy hard. Looks like he's having a little bit of issue with the car there, so that right rear damage might have really hurt him.
Yeah, despite the car being hard to drive, it looked like he just had one hand on the wheel going down the straight there, so I guess it couldn't have been too bad. I think that's Ryan Johnson in 38 just went by him. He's still running up high out of a groove, though, going to let the 18 car go by. There's a nice little hole he could ride in. No, he's going to let them keep going by, so Swindon-Hammer might have some handling aerodynamic issues after that one.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, look at our leader right now, Scott Crump. Started back in 22nd, is now in the lead with Eberhard. He's got pretty good gap to Eberhard there. I'm sure he's going to want to try and keep that opened up as far as he can, because he knows what Eberhard is capable of, and knows that if he lets him get close, Eberhard will pounce on him as soon as he gets the opportunity.
All 24 cars still on the lead lap, covered by 11 seconds, despite the incidents we've seen so far today. And like I say, look at that lead that Crump has, about 1.5 seconds over Eberhard. Even though Eberhard's been in the pits, his tyres are just as old as Crump's are, as all of them fighting the handling. The lap times they're running, by the way, are about mid-53s for the leaders right now. The fastest lap times early on were in the high 52s. Was that Mogard in the wall there?
May have been. No caution, but just a scrape as we ride on board here with Dean Gagliano carrying tonight's sponsor on the hood of his car. You can see what he sees there on his nice triple screen setup. What he sees out the windshield, trying to drive this car and navigate this track and the traffic in front of him to try and move forward.
Yeah, I think it was Mogard grazing the wall on the entry of turn 1, but he was able to pull himself out of a wall, although I think he dropped back a position from 11th to 12th. And that's Merck, who, you could actually see the paint now on the right side of his number 15 car, a little bit scraped up there. Sean Corcoran.
Sorry, Sam. I'm just noticing William Schwindenhammer's in the pits getting repaired. So, yeah, he definitely had some issues with that car. Scraped that wall a little hard, and really must have upset his car for him to jump in and get repairs on it right away here.
And Drew Ballesteros also being shown as a lap down now.
So that means basically if these guys tap the wall, it's really not good for these cars. And I mean, just to repeat again, I mean, they're already a handful and you just put a dent in the wrong spot on the car and the rear end is not going to want to hold on for you when you take that corner.
So all of a sudden, 24 competitive cars cut down to 22. As we continue to watch Dean Gagliano battle, the top three have kind of spread themselves out. Scott Crump, Daniel Eberhardt and Seth Reed. Fourth on back is where the first pack of cars is, and in fact there's a battle for fourth right now. You can see it at the top of your screen there, and there's almost contact between Michael Larch in fourth and Justin Rideout in fifth, getting a lot of aero wash. And that's the problem. We're trying to make a move down low in these cars. I think they're suffering from a lot of understeer when the wind is when the air is getting taken off of their car. And now Justin Rideout, he was looking for fourth. He may drop back to eighth because there's a couple of cars looking down his inside.
Well, and the one thing that, I spoke with Justin about, him racing in the league and not battling for points. And I mean, the one thing he's not going to do is he's not going to push to the extent where there may be a wreck or maybe an incident. I'm sure the organizer doesn't want to be the guy that gets the EOL. So he has mentioned, like if the guys get a run on him, he may, probably let them go through, just because he doesn't want to, kill anybody's championship, but he definitely wants to make them work for it.
So we got the two Mountain Dew cars running together there on the back. Let's see if they help each other out. That's Luke Smith down low and Ryan Johnson up high, the 38 and the 39, and sure enough, Luke Smith realizes that low line isn't the desired line, and he backs out to let Johnson move up into 8th place.
Yeah, we look now too, we've got, Michael Larch right now in 4th, started back in 16th. He's moved up quite well. Dylan Jones up 17 spots, started 24th. Big movers with, be it by attrition or just, some, really good driving at this point, which is these guys are doing pretty good here. Big moves by them early in the race here.
It's only lap number 18. We're averaging about a lap a minute. Of course, throw the caution into there. So it's still about an hour of racing left for these drivers. Scott Crump's quite happy with that right now, I would imagine. Still holding about a second lead, although Eberhardt is catching him at about 2/10 a lap.
Yeah, I think Eberhardt turned up the wick a little bit, maybe let his tires cool down, making his way around the other cars there. Because, I mean, definitely the track is hot. These tires are going to heat up. You're going to want to let them cool down before you want to go and do an attack. And you can see he's not taking the car as low as he was when he was battling. He's kind of running that middle line. Maybe not have to have as much heat in the car, get a really good run out of the corner, and try and close that gap to Crump.
One of the easiest cars to pick out today is Lane Doyle. He is running a pink and white livery. And I mentioned earlier that he was like in 7th place under the caution and took a pit stop to drop to the back, and I was wondering after he started from the pits if maybe he just wanted to be out of trouble. But here he is, right in the middle of it all. This is definitely not staying out of trouble. This is getting involved, even though it says on the windshield there, "Don't hurt me."
Yeah, and I mean, you can't miss them. Those are pretty bright pink hearts. So, you see those and go, you don't really want to scratch the heart. But yeah, doing a good job here. Moved up, is running well. He's up only up one position right now. But as you said, pit stops and everything is going to cycle through here. Probably at another 12, 13 laps because of that caution. These guys got 12, 13 laps to run before they'll have to come in. And it's Indianapolis. This can happen. Anything can happen in any corner.
Dylan Jones dropped back a couple of positions to the Mountain Dew cars last lap, so he was up to 7th. He's now down to 9th. but still just 4 seconds back of a race leader, so still a long way to go. If this race stays green, Indianapolis does have a tendency to become a bit of a, a time trial race, a race against the clock, where you want to stay close to the leaders. So even though these drivers are back here in 9th and 10th, only 4 seconds back of a lead, they're definitely not out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, these guys, they come into the pits. I think we had one car that actually took tires. Nobody's taken tires. So, I mean, these guys are going to have about 20, well, they'll have, 23 laps on these tires. The car's going to start to get loose. You're not going to be able to drive it into the corner and ask it to come out quite as well. So, yeah, definitely going to be interested to see if the tire wear is an issue here. Like I said, I've been told it really isn't, but the way these cars move around, I would think that it would be.
Yeah, the lap times are a couple seconds off of the fastest lap of a race, so I think these drivers would like to have some new tyres eventually. Ooh, it's getting quite close to the wall, and here we go, battle for the lead between Eberhardt. But Eberhardt got aero wash on the exit turn 4 there, and he's losing a lot of time. He really had to back out of it. He's going to be about a second back of Crump by the time they get to turn 1.
Yeah, the really low banking here, with the 9-degree banking, there's really nothing to catch the car when the rear end starts to step out on you, except your ability to drive the car. You've seen so many spins here, just, drivers just not realizing you can't lean the car into the corner because there's really, only that 9 degrees. It's almost a flat track for, by rights. So it looks like somebody kind of got into the wall there again.
Again, only 2 cars not on the lead lap right now. The first is William Schwindenhammer, who lost 2 laps getting repairs. And then Drew Ballister else has retired from the race. So yeah, Dylan Jones, I mean, I know he started from the back, but he's kind of gotten stalled out here in 9th place. This is our championship leader, who is going to try and pass the 39 up high. This is a desired way to try and make a pass, but let's see if he's able to follow Justin Rideout through turns 1 and 2 here and take 8th, or no, he's going to be cautious about it right now. Again, early days, as I wanted to make sure the 39 didn't push up into Jones there. Early days, but Jones has got to be a little concerned about the fact that his 2 closest championship rivals are currently running positions 1 and 2.
Big moment by Rideout.
Saved it though.
Yeah, really good catch by him. He got forced to take that inside line, and you could just see it definitely had to do a quick movement of the wheel to catch that car.
And Crump is coming in. Remember, Crump did not pit, so even with that caution where he could have been saving fuel, he could only make it a lap 22. And that's Jason Maines coming in. I don't understand why he would be coming in this early.
Once you see one car come in, it's really good sometimes to come in and jump in behind them. Again, draft isn't a lot here, but I mean, to be able to come out on the track with another car to run with, definitely an advantage. And I mean, if you're below the top 10, why not? Throw it out there, see what happens. Maybe you get your pit stop done and that synonymous flag comes out and it's 100% to your advantage. So not necessarily a bad decision, but yeah, definitely one to take into account.
Yeah, I'm trying to do quick math here. If Crump could only make it 22 laps, and let's say the caution gained him an extra 2 laps and he got 20 laps. Well, all of these drivers, the likes of Eberhardt, they all came in on lap 8. So if they only can make 20 laps on fuel, they've still got to pit another 3 times. So, they would have to pit on lap 28, lap 48, and lap 68 to get to the end. So maybe that's why Jason Maines came in early.
Well, and that's the thing too. They did only get 8 laps, and I mean, it has been worked out. Like the 22 laps is pretty much, what you can get. 25 is kind of pushing. So you figure, first stop at 22, second stop, like everybody's gonna do a 3 stop. The only advantage, the real saving here is the advantage of how much fuel do you have in the car when you come in for your pit stop. And all these guys, they're going to run these laps. He's going to catch up. But again, it's going to be, how far are they going to run the car to get the fuel and save that time in the pit lane getting fuel in the car.
And let's not forget that they're running about 2 to 2.5 seconds a lap quick on new tyres. So Scott Crump, after, if everyone pits in about 7 laps, as the car in front of us almost hit the wall there, he's going to be holding about a 15-second lead or so. But then everyone else is going to be faster than him for the next 20 laps.
Yeah, they're 18 laps into this stint here, so yeah, expect to see them coming in the next 3 to 4 laps. Depending on how things went with their fuel and where they're running, because just like any other high-speed oval, if you're running behind somebody, you're going to save a little bit more fuel because you're not, you don't have your foot on the floor down those straightaways. You're kind of backing off a little bit.
Nobody coming into the pits this time by, but as you mentioned, probably got a few more laps before these cars who came in to top off around lap 7 or 8 make their way into the pits. It's Daniel Eberhardt lead in with a 1.5 second lead over Seth Reed. So obviously the two drivers at this rate that we're going to be wanting to keep an eye on when the green flag pit stops do happen, if we don't get cautioned by then, are Scott Crump and Daniel Eberhardt.
No, we just want to jinx the heck out of it tonight, don't we? Yeah, low flag, caution, good. But yeah, I mean, it is, as much as we don't like seeing cautions, sometimes we really do like seeing cautions. Myself, once things get spread out, we've got a, 2 seconds, 4 second spread over the top 6, 7, and then it kind of breaks up and then a caution comes out and everybody gets bunched back up. And a lot of decisions have to be made. Whether you can get around the guy in front of you. Do you have more equipment than he does at that moment? Whether everybody pitted or did you stay out? So we see a battle here with Manning and Rideout side by side through. And that's such a scary thing to do, especially, I mean, I've done it in open wheels, and I mean, it's scary to do. Doing it in these, I can't even imagine.
Yes, it's Manning and Mogard almost banning fenders as they come off of turn 2. But if we do see cautions, this is how it's going to happen. These side-by-side battles, the car on the low side is fighting loose and then just gets tight in the middle of a turn when that air hits at the wrong angle. And now we might see Mogard... and Manning into the wall, and there gets Mogard spun by Lane Doyle. No caution yet, but now it'll fly because Mogard is pointing back. I don't think he hit the wall too hard, though.
Yeah, I'm really going to be interested to see how the stewards call this one, because I mean, ultimately he was spun by Lane Doyle, but I mean, Lane, he really had nowhere to go. He didn't really have a choice, so he kind of got bumped there, and then, but I really think that's yeah. So you just watch the replay here.
Yeah, I was watching Mogard and Doyle thinking that's what would bring the yellow out, but it was Jacob Manning getting in the wall that kind of triggered this incident. So
Yeah.
I think it's a racing incident, but the admin have been pretty consistent about penalising whoever brings out the yellow during the season, and I'm almost wondering at that point if you'd have to give it to Manning.
Well, and that's kind of that's why I said I'd be really interested to see. I'm waiting to see if I can hear who it is, because I think that would kind of be on Manning, hitting the wall there, and then, just Lang actually got past him without anything, but he had been checked up so much that he just got into the other car. So it's going to be interesting to see how they call this one as everybody makes their way into the pits here. Expect to see everybody take full fuel and all 4 tires.
Yeah, now Crump will stay out because he pit not too long ago. But the thing is, he's going to be restarting on older tires than these guys. And so we'll wait to see how that works out for him. They come down pit road very fast. Don't be surprised if we see a couple people overshoot their marks on pit road. And that could be a difference maker. It looks like most of our top contenders, though, hit their marks.
So no EOL on this one. They have deemed it a racing incident. So, everybody kind of got away with it. Probably Manning, got away with it the most with the hit in the wall, but he's probably going to have to get some repairs here. So we say everybody start to make their way out of the pits and see how they see who gets out first and how they line up here coming to the new green flag.
So Scott Crump and Jason Maines, and here we see our league. Oh, here we see a bunch of cameras. Scott Crump and Jason Maines, they had pit prior to the caution, so now they get propelled up to first and second place. But again, they're on 6-lap old tires. So we'll wait.
Well, really 5 lap because I mean they've been under or 4 lap because they've been under caution for 2 year for them at least. So as long as they can keep those tires down, they should be pretty much on par with everybody, with only the 4 laps on the tires. So big advantage for them pitting when they did.
And Jacob Manning has retired from the race as the second incident we'd seen him in. So I wonder if he's, these cars have to be quite aerodynamically efficient to perform well at this 2.5-mile speedway. And I guess Manning was saying, nope, I've got a bit too much damage to be competitive. And so he's out. William Schwindenhammer has gotten one of his laps back, so he'll be hoping for another caution. And the cars at the back of the pack topping off with fuel as the pace truck lights go off.
Yeah, so really quick cautions here, which is good because it is such a long track. Drivers can save a little fuel here. Again, the fuel game here now is how much fuel can you save to save time in the pits. Not like it was, at the beginning of the season where, you pretty much had to save fuel or you might have had to do an extra pit stop. A lot of the drivers said, we want to race from the drop of the flag, and Justin, the organizer, heard them and made the change, and seen a lot of really good racing since they've done that, and the drivers don't have to worry as much.
I've seen a lot of green flag racing throughout the season. You do wonder if the drivers aren't concerned about fuel as much, if they'll race more aggressively and we'll see more yellows. At Dover, we definitely saw a lot of yellows last week, but I think the track was to blame for that. Only 2 cautions so far tonight, but I think the setup is to blame for that. And not necessarily that the admin have given the drivers a bad fixed setup, Robert. It's just it's a little loose, and this is something these drivers have been fighting with this car all season.
Yeah, it all comes down to the driving for the driver. The car, everybody's driving the exact same car, so everybody's dealing with the exact same issues. It just, it's how you deal with them. As we get ready to come back to green here with Crump and Maines in the front row and see what kind of takeoff they can get here when Barney starts throwing that flag.
And again, Scott Crump electing to restart up high, so he'll have Ryan Johnson behind him, and Eberhardt will be behind Maines down low. And Maines already pulling out of the way and letting everyone by. And so Scott Crump has gotten a massive... No, he wasn't. Maybe he just got really bad wheel spin then.
Yeah, I think he just lit up the rears. He got on it a little hard there and just, good on him to bail out of it completely there and catch the car up and not cause another incident. But looks like he's got it back under control here now, and start to get a little bit racy, maybe get his positions back.
And I thought Johnson might have beaten Eberhardt for second place, but that's not the case. Eberhardt has moved up into second. Again, he has 4-lap newer tyres than Crump. So let's see if Eberhardt can do anything about this race lead.
Well, and he knows how to use fresh tires. I don't expect Crump to actually put up much of a fight here right now. He does know Eberhardt can be quicker than him and probably is a lot faster. This early in the game, preserve your car, let him have it, and just go and wait until we got 10 to go, and then put your elbows out and give him a fight.
But let's not forget, this is still a win for Crump, even if he drops back to second, and he's going to shut the door on Eberhardt there and say, not yet. the reason Crump is doing this different strategy is because if he didn't, he would have to pass everyone in the field because he started at the back after messing up qualifying. So even though it looks like Eberhardt's going to take the lead from him here, Scott Crump has still won out in the long run by the fact that he'll be running second.
Yeah, he didn't give it up easy, but yeah, he kind of gave it up there. Just, said, okay, can I run him here? And, now he'll use Eberhardt and say, okay, I'll just run behind you. I will follow you. Let's pull away from the pack. We'll fight it out in about 60 laps.
So Ryan Johnson has broke away in third. Here's a battle for fourth on back where things are quite tight. That's Michael Larch ahead of Jordan Berube, and then Seth Reed and Dylan Jones now up to seventh. Again, Dylan Jones slowly working his way up to the front, taking his time though as Jordan Berube trying to look down the inside of Michael Larch. But we haven't always seen these moves to the inside work, but Larch is going to give it to him or maybe not.
Yeah, fresh tires, they'll take a little bit more of a risk. Probably, I think maybe in another 2 laps we're going to see them settle in a little bit here. But I mean, doesn't matter what car you drive around here. When you've got a fresh set of tires underneath you, you don't want to save them. You want to use them up because you can move forward so quickly before the tires start to fall off, even though it happens within about 5-6 laps.
Michael Larch breaks away in fourth there ahead of Seth Reed and Jordan Berube trying to make moves down the low line, but we see that's just not working. If they're unable to complete the pass, they end up losing more positions, and Jordan Berube drops all the way back down to seventh.
Yeah, momentum is so crucial here. Any kind of momentum loss through the corner and not being able to get out of the corner is just so catastrophic here. If you're in a pack running like these guys are this close, you're guaranteed that you're going to the back of the pack, or at least moving back halfway. So we can see Crump still trying to hold on to Eberhard here, half a second. But, Johnson's going to have something to say about that P2 right now. It looks like he's kind of closing that gap on Crump.
But again, if Johnson does get second from Crump, and we've already seen that Crump is willing to fight it, is going to fight it, he'll still have a pocket of clean air to run in third place there before having to worry about the likes of Larch and Seth Reed and Dylan Jones and all of them. So right now this is working out beneficial for Scott Crump, and honestly, if a caution came out right now, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone came down pit road, because at this point they'd be able to stretch it to the end on just one more stop.
It would be interesting to see. I mean, I know probably nobody really wants a caution, but you can see right, on board here with Ryan Johnson's going to go after Crump here. Got a huge run out. See if Crump lets him have the inside and backs out of it. I don't think he will. He might fight him here through. No, he's not even really going to fight him through turn 1. Might come back at him here as they exit out of turn 2.
Yeah, but my point, Robert, is I'll say that Scott Crump wouldn't mind a caution, I don't think, because, if a caution, and it doesn't have to be now, it could be in 10 laps or so came out, and he was still up here in third, or maybe a top 5, how many cars are there behind him? 6 cars, so, somewhere in the top 10, and everyone pit and came and put the same tyres on, then all of a sudden he's not on a different strategy anymore, he's up there in the top 10 legitimately. There was one car out of a groove there.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different, even though like the biggest part of the fuel game has been taken out, there's still a lot of games that can be played here to move yourself forward. What position can you be in? Should a caution come out? And, right now everybody's running nice and clean. Eberhard is kind of opening up that lead now over Johnson and Crump. Honestly, I mean, I think if Reed, Jones, Berube, and Michael Larch there all just kind of, even Smith there, all just kind of start battling, they could really move themselves a lot closer to Johnson and Crump. But with all the battling they're doing behind them, Johnson and Crump and Eberhard are just, kind of pulling away from the field here.
Yeah, well, Eberhard really looked like he had a nice run down the front straight. Johnson was 1.3 seconds back, and then he dropped to 1.5 seconds back. Could be something with just how the scoring loops work here at the virtual Indianapolis, because Johnson started to come back, but here he goes again, dropping to 1.6 seconds back. So Eberhardt's growing that lead.
Yeah, you give a guy like that clean air and an open track where he can just kind of drive the car the way he wants. He's going to take, full advantage of it, try and open up that gap as much as he can before pit stops or before, something else happens on track where they get all bunched up again. But, looking at Dylan Jones here, back up, running in fourth, started back in 24th, still got a clean car for the most part here. Coming up on, gonna come up and, move his way as close as he can here to Crump, and that gap has closed.
Oh, there was almost contact there. That all started going through turn one. Seth Reed and Jordan Berube almost coming together, and then Seth Reed got a little bit loose, and sorry, maybe it was Reed and Crump almost coming together. But as a result, Dylan Jones just found the gaps. There have been about 3 or 4 near crashes on this pack of 4 cars here over the last lap. But there we finally see someone going down low on the entry of a corner and making it stick. It's taken us half a race to see it, but Dylan Jones has gotten up to 3rd place. Oh boy, Scott Crump, I think he realizes he's just going to get freight trained here. So he's going to try and find a gap in the line here, I think, to try and stop the bleeding.
Yeah, the rear end, through the last corner there, the rear end was really wiggling around on the car, and I'm sure it's a lot of movement in the rear of the car there, so I'm sure he's having to bail out of it here, trying to take the car deep. Look at the slide. Whoa. Okay, so he's going to come into the pits here now and get this done and get this taken care of.
Yeah, he can make it to the end and one more stop. So this is that strategy. Crump realizes he was going back. He was losing time. Let's break this final lap, final half of a race up into 2 stints of 20 laps.
Now, is this going to put him, this is probably going to put him a lap down here under green. I don't think he can get out of the pits before Eberhardt comes around. Looks like he's taking tires, full fuel. So here he comes out of the pits, and that's got Eberhardt.
Yeah, he should be good. Eberhardt's still going through turn 4, but I mean, even if it is close here, Crump is going to have newer tires, and that will make him about a second a lap quicker, even at this stage.
Yeah, definitely an advantage at this point. Managed to. I thought it would be a little bit closer, but yeah, he's got out of the pits and ready to go here. But these guys are still battling hard here. I mean, nothing is decided here from, third on, as far as I'm concerned, 3rd to 10th. Nothing's really decided here. These guys are battling. They're moving around. They're trying to find different lines on the track where they can put their car and get an advantage. So it's good. As much as we want to watch the leaders, this is some exciting racing by these guys.
So now into the second half of the race, Eberhardt continues to build that lead over Ryan Johnson here in the Married Mechanical 200, round 14 of 20 of a Rolling Thunder Racing Series. We don't really know who the champion is going to be yet. There's definitely 3 or 4 drivers in the fight, but one of them, as Lane Doyle has a big moment coming off of turn 4, but is able to save it. Still up there running in 8th place.
Yeah, he's running around bright pink car, says don't hurt me, but movements like that, he's going to hurt himself, which is not going to be good for his race.
Riding on board Jordan Berube here. And Jordan's, I think he's had a few incidents this season. He's definitely been involved in some exciting racing tonight, side by side. Sometimes it hasn't worked out for him, but he's still up there holding down the top 5 position.
Yeah, everybody doing a really good job, kind of, holding where they are. He started 5th and he's sitting 5th. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for much better than that. 50, just over 50% through this race. A good place to be. The points are there. Take them. If you can move yourself forward by somebody else's, incident, you're in the perfect position to do it.
Got about 5 or 6 more laps left until we see everyone else comes into the pits again. If we stay green through around the stops, which we haven't done yet today, then Scott Crump would be the race leader, but he would be on older tires, and everyone would have still one more stop still to make. As it is, everyone has 2 more stops to make, except for Scott Crump, who's back there in 21st place.
Yeah, it could all work out for him in the end. Like you said, just based on when he pitted and where he is, um, if a caution does come out, he can pit with everybody and get back on cycle, or he can stay off cycle and hope for some, huge dramatics at the end of the race where, he's just got more in the tank than anybody else.
So Jeff Merck is the second one to come down. In the number 60 car, one of the newer drivers in the league. I wonder if this is a bit of inexperience from competing with these drivers, making this decision, but because the more experienced drivers know that the way things have worked out throughout the course of a season is that it tends to be going longer pays dividends. But we'll see. Scott Crump is coming early, so now Jeff Merck is going to do the same too, and we'll see if it works out for him.
Well, yeah, they've officially split it up to one more stop. So definitely, strategy here is to, maybe hope. Like I said, I mean, you don't want to hope for cautions, but I mean, if it works for your strategy, then you're asking for another driver to make a mistake and bring out a caution and put you back up the field. Pit stops with everybody having to come in for at least one more. It definitely, well, two more. One more. Definitely an advantage for him.
And Merck is able to come out onto the lead lap, and there you can see what new tyres are doing for you. Scott Crump has been 1.5 seconds a lap faster than our race leader ever since his pit stop. But the roles will change, and the roles will be reversed in about 5 or 10. Oh! Unless something like that happens. That was Seth Reed. He's been running strong all night long. Is that going to upset his car for the rest of the race?
Yeah, we've seen a couple cars, get into the wall like that. I just love watching these guys slide these things out of the turn. But yeah, we've noticed a few cars tonight, get into the wall like that on the rear end, and then the rear end just does not want to plant on the car anymore. And we either see them start to really, really struggle or lose some pace. But it looks like he might have got away with that one there.
Jason Maines is our third driver to come in for his penultimate pit stop. And we've seen Jason Maines try a bit of strategy early on, although I think that was dictated... he might have overshot his pit stall there. It was dictated a little bit by the fact that he got damage on lap 1 in an incident with Jacob Manning.
Yeah, still lots of cars running. Unfortunately, we've lost Jacob Manning, Drew Ballestros. William Schwindenhammer's 2 laps down right now. Sure, he's not happy with that. But yeah, the 2 cautions, I would say that's a pretty good value for the evenings as to how the racing has gone so far.
So Maines is actually going to go a lap down. Again, though, within about 5 laps, these new tyres should be able to get him back out there on the lead lap. But definitely, it's going to be an inconvenience to him to have to unlap himself from those 3 leaders who have gotten by. Or maybe it's just 2 leaders, Eberhardt and Ryan Johnson there. I said Ryan
Sorry, Sam. I was just going to say, now he's the guy that it says, I want to caution, because they do have the lucky dog here. So if a caution does come out, he does have the ability to get back on the lead lap and go back in the fight.
I said Ryan Johnson had been losing time as Jeff Merck sets the fastest lap on his new tyres. I said that Johnson had been losing time to Ryan Johnson. He's kind of, to Daniel Eberhardt rather, he's kind of stabilised that gap though between 1.5 and 2 seconds. He just lets the lap car Maines go by him there on his newer tyres. In fact, he'll get a nice little toe down the back straight here, which might help him catch Eberhardt a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if you know the guy behind you is just pitted, or you can tell just by his closing speed how fast he closes on you through the corners, as to whether or not it's even worth it to give him a bit of a battle. And you saw Ryan just say, you know what, you're not on my lap. You're faster than I am. Just go. I'll use you for a tow for a little bit, and just keep my position and not scratch up my car.
And soon Maines will be unlapping himself from the race leader of Eberhardt. I think Lane Doyle may have just came into the pits as well, so the penultimate round of stops definitely underway. That's going to cost Eberhardt a little bit of time using that high groove in turn 2 though, but again he's got about a 1.5, 2 second lead, and now he gets a nice toe down the back straight, so no harm, no foul.
Well, and I mean, the high line's going to give you, you're not cranking the wheel as much. It's not burning your tires off as much as we've seen, guys that are trying to run that low line. The rear end starts to really kind of light up on them as they get into the end of the fuel stint here, which just about everybody, everybody else is on 20 laps, 19 laps. So should expect to see everybody coming in within 1 to 2 laps, maybe some in 3. But that should be the, as we see another, thought maybe he was diving in the pits. But yeah, by around lap 53, we should see probably Eberhardt come in.
Mogard is the first one of our leaders to come in this lap around. As we mentioned, Lane Doyle came in last lap, so I have a feeling you're right. I think pit road is going to get very busy here in a lap or two.
Yeah, and expect, wholesale changes, fresh tires for all these guys, full of fuel. And I'm actually just going to watch here. Looks like I'm thinking they're only taking right side tires, which to me on this pit stop, I think I would have taken all 4. I would have taken the loss. But, if they can make it work on 2 tires, then, good on them.
Yeah, Mogard took all 4 there. Again, when they all came in on lap 7, none of them took tyres because they knew they still had to make 3 more stops. So your pit stop on lap, when we had the second caution, lap 29, and then this is the second time they're taking tyres, and the third time they'll take tyres will be with about 10 laps left to go. Although, to your point, if some cars only... no, I think you're losing too much time a lap to risk not taking tyres on your final stop, even if you make it with only 8 laps or so left to go.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. My mistake. It looked like only one side of the car had gone up there. Maybe I glanced away for a second when the other side went up, but it looked like the one car there, the one car in the pits there only took one right side tire. So as we see Eberhardt dive into the pits here.
And Johnson can go a lap longer, which will give him fresher tyres for the next stint. Eberhardt going down the pit road on my telemetry, it was saying 61 miles an hour. iRacing can be nice about that, but I just don't get why he'd risk that. He's gotten a good enough lead. Anyway, Crump will be far ahead of him when he comes out, but Eberhardt will now be running him down at about 1.5 seconds a lap.
Yeah, definitely, huge advantage to having a full set of tires on these cars. Now they're going to have a full fuel load. Everybody a lot of confidence, really going to push the cars. So I expect to see some positions changing here within the first 5 laps after this round of pit stops. But you got to watch, these guys that are, still running on a little bit older tires. Are they going to get loose? Are they going to bring out a caution? Or, anything can happen.
Yeah, Crump has already gone by. Jordan, as Ryan Johnson comes in, Jordan Berube overshot his pit stall pretty significantly. I wouldn't be surprised if there have been others that have missed throughout the night. Now here comes the Mountain Dew cars down pit road. Again, all of these cars still going to have to pit one more time. Looks like Sean Corcoran in the blue car behind.
Well, and I'm just looking at my timing here. It's actually the interesting thing is Daniel Eberhardt had the longest pit stop. His pit stop was 15.1 to everybody else's 14.5, 14.7. So, maybe he had run that tank a little bit deeper than everybody else running out front like that.
Looking at Scott Crump's lap times while all this is going on, they're in the mid-54s already, and Eberhardt is about 7 seconds behind him. So I think it'll only be about 3 or 4 laps before Eberhardt passes Crump, and Crump still has to go about another 5 or 6 laps till he comes in for his final stop. So this could be interesting, actually.
Yeah, as we see right on board here with Justin Rideout as he brings his car in for his, for his pit stop. Again, full fuel, wholesale tires. See how long his pit stop is. He's been out there for a while, so definitely probably going to be a little bit extra in the pits filling that tank up.
And it's interesting seeing that we have well, Justin Rideout was the fourth car, 3 cars out there on track who are going about 25 laps on fuel. So I wonder if Rideout and John Lewis, Colin Weatherholt and Trevor Williams still out there on track, can those 3 make it to the end? When they pit, can this be their final stop for Lewis, Weatherholt and Williams?
As Lewis comes in here, definitely a possibility. And, based on where they were running, they had the ability to, save a little bit of fuel and maybe not, dive into the corners so hard and push the car so hard to be able to get those, that 25, 26 laps out of that tank. It's just going to be all positional as to how much they're going to burn off, during this stint to be able to go complete.
Weatherholt and Williams are still out there. Let's not forget, Williams was one of the ones involved in that crash on lap 7. So what a comeback this has been.
Yeah, and if he can make this work, he's probably going to follow Weatherholt into the pits here. Would probably be his best move, and just come right back out with them and see what they can do together, hooked up.
See if they can make it another lap. They are. They both continue going. So boy, these two are getting about 27 laps on the tank. They could definitely make it to the end from now, I think. Now, granted, they're running slowly. They're running 26s. Even Scott Crump on his older tyres is running them down a second a lap. So I would love to see this race stay green to the end now, because I don't know which strategy is going to work out the best. Daniel Eberhardt is in 5th place on new tyres. Within a couple of laps, he's going to pass all of these people.
Well, and if you watch, you can see the RPM dial there just underneath the steering wheel. It looks like he's clutching through the corners here to try and just save a little bit of fuel. You'll see that needle every once in a while just completely drop. I saw it there a couple corners ago, maybe not right on this one, but definitely doing some fuel saving here, trying to minimize the amount of time that has to be spent on pit lane. As there he goes.
Yeah, needs to come in. And Daniel Eberhardt, who is passing Scott Crump for the lead now, he almost had a big moment in turn 3. He almost ran into the back of Bo Tiffany, and that could have been Eberhardt's day over, but fortunately he was able to get around him. Now, the good news for Eberhardt here is he's taken the lead, whereas Crump hasn't made it a lap 60 yet. So I'm thinking this is still looking good for the driver at number 90.
Yeah, and it just becomes repetitive. But I mean, everybody has said, Daniel Eberhardt is the guy to beat, and I mean, he knows it. He knows. We've had him in interviews, but as a winner, and I mean, he knows that he is probably one of the best drivers, if not the best driver in this league right now, setting the standard for everybody else as to where they want to get to, for sure.
And I think Trevor Williams may have been speeding on pit road. He is still in his pit stall. So we're not going to see if the strategy would have worked for Trevor Williams, but Colin Weatherholt, he is still out there on his unique strategy. And he's basically the only car out there that I feel confident saying can make it to the end without a stop. So let's see what Colin Weatherholt can do.
Yeah, as everybody cycles through here, we still got, Scott Crump, Jeff Merck, quite a bit older tires than everybody else right now. So, but we have seen how much new tires here. I mean, it's almost a 2-second advantage for new tires for about 4 or 5 laps before they start to fall off and drop into the 53, 54s. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out tonight as we get through the final pit cycle. Because I don't think, they can't go all the way, but 67, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think Colin Weatherholt is the only competitive driver who can make it to the end. I don't know about John Lewis in 19th. I think he might have pitted too early. What I do know is I think Scott Crump's intentions is to break this last stint down into 2 stints of 20 laps, which would mean he'll be in this lap. And this could work out well for Scott Crump. He may be 4 seconds behind Eberhardt, but right now he might be on track to finish second place. And after he started at the back of the field, I think he'll take that. Let's see if Crump and Merck indeed come into the pits this time by. Here they come.
Yeah, and that puts Ryan Johnson, Dylan Jones, on the same strategy up into P2 and P3. Dylan Jones currently your leader in the standings. Scott Crump in second, our leader in third right now. So going to be a shift at the top there for standings. But as you said, don't call out. Oh.
Is he still getting serviced?
Yep.
Yeah, he got caught lucky there. I thought he would have to recorrect the car, but no, they serviced it. Oh, but look, it cost him so much time parking that awkwardly that Merck gets ahead of him.
Yeah, it cost him a near extra second. 15.8 was his pit stop. So, yeah, it cost him, but, now's the time where he's going to have to put the pedal down, put his eyes forward, and, just get everything he can out of the car with these fresh tires on so that he has something near the end of the race.
Jason Maines coming into the pits for his final stop. Let's see if Crump tries to pass Merck here. He might be thinking about the championship, and let's not deny it that Crump is one of the fastest drivers out there, and he knows that, and he wants to get by Merck. And there we go. Merck thought about turning in, and then realised that Crump was already there.
Yeah, he probably could have shut the door on him there a lot sooner. But yeah, I noticed him at the last second there. He's going to give him a run here. He's not going to give it up easy to him. He's going to fight for it. And, good on him. Just, you never know what can happen. Crump can come out of the corner too loose, and you gain your position back, taking them side by side here.
Yeah, and Crump is on the less desired line. So he thought he might be making up a position there. Eberhardt behind them, almost a lap ahead of him, and he'll be seeing this. And he'll be smiling about that because he'll know that these two are costing each other time.
Yeah, you can watch him on board here. If he goes down the inside, you're going to see him after probably, whether he's going to do it here, not sure if he will. I'm sure he was working that wheel the last couple corners. Maybe he wants to settle down here a little bit. But the car was definitely wiggling on him through the corner, taking that low line, which is not, as far as, I don't know, from what I've seen tonight, really not the preferred line in these cars.
I think Crump is smart enough here to know that he'd be losing too much time running side by side. He would love to be ahead of the car in front of him, ahead of Merck. But, you're just going to lose too much time trying to make that happen.
Yeah, and he knows that the cars in front of him are going to have to pit before he does. So yeah, don't scratch up your car right now. Do what you can with it. If he can move forward with Merck, fight it out later when the two of them, because they are on the same strategy. Fight it out later when you move up the field.
Yeah, and talking about not having to pit, these two do not have to pit. They're behind Weatherholt, who also doesn't have to pit. They're about 7 seconds behind him. Weatherholt already running 54.2s, whereas these two are catching him about a second a lap. So again, at the end of a race, we're going to see 3 different strategies come together if it stays green. We're going to see Weatherholt in front going slowly, these two behind Weatherholt going medium speed, and Eberhardt behind all of them going fast.
Yeah, I don't think Eberhardt has slow in his vocabulary, even though the lap times say it. Yeah, I mean, it certainly doesn't look like it on the track. Whoa!
He was trying to use the lap car as a pick. Crump was trying to use that 37 lap car as a pick, and it almost looked like it was going to work, and then Merck said, no, it's not.
Yes, definitely a moment there, tried it. But, you know, those are the things I know as myself as a driver, too, when something like that happens. You get your burr up. And, you know, right now you just got to hope Crump says, okay, that didn't work. It almost was disastrous. I'll find a different way to do it. That's not so risky.
Dylan Jones coming in from 3rd place on 12 lap old tyres, and he's going to have 14 lap old tyres at the end of the race here. So, and a lot of people coming with him. So a lot of cars pitted with about, I'm guessing about 28 laps left to go in this race. This is their way of splitting this final stint up into even stints. They're taking tyres. Did Jones only take 2? Yeah,
it looked like he only took 2. Yeah. That's what I said. I mean, that's where this is where the final strategy comes in. Do you take 2? Do you take 4? You're just putting in enough fuel to get you to the end. And we were told the tire wear isn't that bad here, so you take those right sides to hold you through 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it can definitely be a huge advantage for you. As Eberhardt is in the pits.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. I'll tell you that Jones is going to come out ahead of Merck and Crump. Merck and Crump were running side by side again, but Merck is still ahead. Let's see how many tires Eberhardt takes here.
Well, and he is so quick on fresh tires. It'd be interesting to see if he takes 2 or 4.
Right side's up in the air and back down on the ground. Eberhardt taking 4.
Interesting call. Well, you know, how many times have we been wrong about his strategy calls this season, Sam?
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, and he lit them up on the cold tires.
And that will stay green.
Yeah, infield. It's that's going to hurt him. He's not going to be happy about that.
Well, I wonder how much time he lost though, because it looked like I'll be honest, it looks like he was going to win the race by a few seconds anyway. But that probably cost him about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that cost him a fair amount. He had to right the car. He had to get out of the grass here. We'll see how everything cycles out here. But I'm showing him on my timing screen right now in coming out. So yeah, coming out got him in 14th place. So that's, you know, the guys in front of him have, you know, 15 lap older tires, but that's definitely going to hurt his ability to come back around and possibly come out of this with a win.
So Lane Doyle being shown as the race leader, but there he is in the pink car. So having a couple graphical issues with him, so that's why you'll see in the intervals a little bit odd. But he is a race leader. We can tell you that. That is Michael Larch in 2nd place. So the positions are correct. The first driver who can make it to the end is Colin Weatherholt. Dylan Jones is behind him, but on 2 tires only. He is pulling away from the battle between Merck and Crump, and then Eberhardt will be running them all down toward the end.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So it looks like, yeah, mathematically 20 coming down to 10 to go. Lane Doyle, Larch, Corcoran, Gagliano really don't have I think they have to pit.
We saw Jones getting close to the wall there. He is, hey, there we go.
Oh, there goes Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle comes into the pits, and now timing and scoring works again. So Michael Larch is now the leader with 10 laps left to go. Jones is running down Weatherholt, and he's pulling away from Merck and Crump. So Jones might actually be in the position to win this thing.
Well, and he has shown he's fast. He is the championship leader right now at the moment. I'm sure he wants to add to that lead and open that lead up, especially if he knows about the mistake by Eberhardt. To take the win and get those extra points today would definitely be helpful to hold him at the top of the championship. But like, you know, I want to bring up Weatherholt here, who, you know, we've seen him on the podium so many times. I'd really like to see him get a win under his belt. And you know, today he's good chance he's in the position to be able to do that. A little stretch of the neck, a little bit of, yeah, okay, and just focus and, hope that he doesn't get caught.
And Crump has finally got by Merck. So Crump has finally pulled off that move that he's been trying to pull off, but I think the damage was done because I think, let's be honest, Crump is one of the fastest drivers here. He might have been going faster were he in front of Merck, and he could have been ahead of Dylan Jones, but he's not, and being held up there could have cost him an opportunity of winning the race. Daniel Eberhardt, meanwhile, has been battling side by side with Jordan Berube, so that's been costing him time. This is all shaping up nicely for Dylan Jones, who is right behind Weatherholt now.
Yeah, close that gap really quick. So yeah, this will be good. These, again, these guys have been doing this for 14 rounds now. They're all familiar with each other. Probably some love and hate between a few of them. He had to back out of that.
And there goes Dylan Jones on the inside of Weatherholt. We saw Weatherholt when we had the onboard camera up with him a moment ago. He looked determined. He looked like he knew that this could be the battle for the win. And right now he's going to put up a fight against Dylan Jones. And as these two battle, and it's not much of a battle. Jones goes by him. I was going to say Crump's running him down. Now that could be the pass for the win. But here's the thing. Dylan Jones is still behind Sean Corcoran and 20 seconds back on Michael Larch. And I'm trying to do the math. It would have to be a 26-lap stint for Larch to make it to the end, but we've seen people do that.
Well, we've seen people do that, but I think here it's not gonna. He's running 55.5s. Maybe he's backing off. I don't know. Obviously, to save fuel. But I mean, Dylan Jones running a full second a lap quicker than him last lap around. So Dylan Jones can definitely catch him. But if he can push the car to have enough fuel that he can run hard for one or two more laps and then save it, I mean, definitely a possibility. And same thing with Sean Corcoran, who only has one lap more than Michael Larch on his tires.
I want to see if Larch was clutching now. I think Corcoran is. The way he's just letting him by like that, Corcoran's trying to stretch the fuel. So, yeah, Larch was trying to stretch the fuel here. He's 17 seconds ahead of Dylan Jones. He's 1.5 seconds a lap slower. So right now he's doing enough to win the race. But can he maintain that pace? Will he have to save more fuel as the laps die down here?
Well, yeah, it's definitely, definitely a really good job on his part if he manages to get a good, the final 6 laps as he comes around here, the final 6 laps out of this tank of fuel, 26 would bring him to the checker flag. So a little bit of saving, he may be able to pull this off.
Eberhardt has gone by Merck and up into 6th position. So let's keep an eye on all of this, because if Michael Larch doesn't have enough fuel, will Dylan Jones be the winner, or can Eberhardt run him down? Because Eberhardt is... Oh, Larch is coming in. He cannot make it. 6 laps left to go.
So that's going to move Jones up in to take the top spot with Weatherholt and Crump in 3rd. And Daniel Eberhardt moving through the field as fast as he can. He's just amazing what this guy does sometimes. I don't even know what to say about him anymore.
Half a second a lap quicker than Dylan Jones. That won't cut it. It could cut it. It depends how well he's able to get through this traffic. Weatherholt is the only one left for position. And let's see if Eberhardt's able to clear him down the back straight. I think this could be critical, and I think he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, Weatherholt on 17 old lap tires. There's no fight through the corners to Eberhardt. But now he's, if he wants to go after Dylan Jones here, as they come around, 5 laps to go, 4 laps to go, he can close this gap. And we've seen Jones and Eberhardt fight hard for wins in the last lap 2 of a race. So this will be interesting to see as he's closing about a half a second a lap.
Well, I hope the rest of the field keep this clean and green, because we have 5 laps left to go and it is going to end almost in a photo finish at this rate. Eberhardt is catching between half a second to a second a lap. I think Dylan Jones just had the last lap, a slow lap, because I think it was Brenton Barker. No, it was Dean Gagliano. I think may have unlapped himself with new tyres over Dylan Jones, and that's why Jones lost so much time last lap. But at this rate, if Jones can hold on to that gap of only losing half a second a lap, he might still be able to win this.
Yeah, he just has to, nail all his apexes in the corners, get the car through smooth, and just try and. He doesn't even have to pull out on him. He doesn't even, just maintain that gap, or just keep that gap that he's only closing maybe a tenth of a second a lap as they come around the line here. Down to 3 to go. He may be able to pull this one off.
Nice battle for third going on as well, and you can see there's a lot of cars here on a lot of different strategies. Ryan Johnson has the newer tyres of all of them, and he's trying to use them to pull himself up by Scott Crump into third position. We'll keep an eye on this, because it's going to be a couple of laps until Eberhardt catches Jones, if he catches Jones. And also, of course, a caution here would change everything. Jordan Berube is also a lead lap car there.
Well, and you look at it too. I mean, you look at the top 4 drivers right now coming down to, as they come down here to 2 to go. Our top 3 drivers are our top 3 in the championship right now.
Yeah, top 4 actually. The top 4 in the championship, I believe. Boy, Johnson, he has that tyre advantage, but he's in that undesirable low line. But now he's going to be able to clear Crump, and that might be all she wrote, and Ryan Johnson's got third place locked down right now. At the rate they are going, as Berube looks for fourth on Scott Crump, and we've seen Berube involved in a whole lot of battles today. This might be his last one.
So I'm just watching that gap really opening up there from between Eberhardt and Jones. I'm wondering if Eberhardt had a moment, because that gap increased by about 0.3 of a second there really, really quickly.
He hit the wall coming out of turn 3. He overshot turn 3. I was trying to say Eberhardt was not doing enough, and I think he might have realised that as well, and overdrove turn 3 last lap around.
Yeah, so the job of Jones right now is just, come around, get that white flag, and hold on. Try and maintain that gap as best as you can. 1.2 seconds. It's a lot to ask, but I mean, just the way these cars are going around this track, it's possible for Eberhardt to come up here and give us a photo finish at the line.
Almost looked like he knocked the turn 3 wall down again. Lane Doyle has retired from the race. And as we start the final lap, give a shout out to Luke Smith up there in 9th place. I don't think we've mentioned him all night. Dylan Jones takes a white flag in first place with a 1 second lead over Daniel Eberhardt. Eberhardt is only half a second a lap quicker. That is not enough to make it, but one slip up from the number 3 and Eberhardt will be there. Ryan Johnson. He has new tyres. He's in third place. It looks like he's going to end a 2.5 seconds back. There's a battle going on between the lap cars up in the distance. Hopefully, though, they'll keep it clean. It shouldn't affect these guys. There's no more cautions. There's no cautions on iRacing on the final lap of a race. But I was watching the lap cars. I was wondering if they were going to wad up the track. If this was one extra lap, we would have a photo finish. And if Eberhardt hadn't spun on pit exit, he would be in the victory lane. But that wasn't the case. Ifs don't matter. What matters is that Dylan Jones is in first place, and he's going to come across the yard of bricks and win here at Indianapolis.
Great job by Dylan Jones to be able to go up there and take that win, expand his lead in the championship. Daniel Eberhardt is going to close that gap a little bit by taking the second position. Ryan Johnson, He will probably move up, finishing in front of Colin Weatherholt. So there's going to be some shifts in the standings, but some great racing. Very few cautions, and as we saw with the onboards, these cars are a handful around all four corners here.
And it was a two-tire call that got Dylan Jones a race win here. And he's still in a hurry to come back around to the front straight and climb a fence, kiss virtual bricks. What I like to do, one thing you can do at home if you win at Indianapolis on iRacing, is go downstairs and get a drink of milk. So we'll see what Dylan Jones's victory choices here. Don't hit the walls, Dylan. Oh no, he's just gonna... Oh, he might hit the wall. I think he kept it off. There he goes. Burn it down on the yard of bricks for us. I think he's a happy man right there in that number 3 car. Well, we're going to take a quick break here on GSRC, but we'll be back with driver interviews and the full race rundown. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to the Brickyard, where we just witnessed round number 14 of the Rolling Thunder Racing Series here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This race being presented to you by Murad Mechanical, flexible services, smart solutions. You can find out more at muradmechanical.com. Well, the margin of victory officially was about half a second between Dylan Jones and Daniel Eberhardt when they came across the line at the end of 80 laps there. Ryan Johnson was catching them both at the end, just 2 seconds back in third position. Jordan Berube, he was in battles all night long. I always question drivers that are in battles all the time. I'm like, are they just wasting their time picking fights that they can't win? But that certainly was not the case here. Jordan Berube finishes a solid fourth position. Scott Crump and Jeff Merck out there on old tyres at the end had a little bit of side-by-side racing that may have cost them a position or two, but they finished 5th and 6th. Seth Reed, I think he had a moment during the middle of a race, but he still salvaged the 7th place ahead of Colin Weatherholt, who was up there, maybe looking at the win in the closing laps, but unfortunately his old tyres costing him there. Luke Smith finishes in 9th place, quiet race for him, and Jason Maines rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, we get Jared Mogard in 11th, with Michael Larch in 12th, John Lewis in 13th position, with Justin Rideout coming in 14th, Sean Corcoran in 15th, followed by Trevor C. Williams and Dean Gagliano in 17th, Brenton Barker in 18th, Joshua Suss in 19th, and Bo Tiffany finishing in 20th. Sure, he's not going to be happy about that.
And a few drivers wanted to forget today's race. Lane Doyle, William Schwindenhammer, Jacob Manning, and Drew Ballesteros all finishing multiple laps down. Well, let's catch up with our back-to-back winner here, Dylan Jones. Dylan, it was a two-tire call, and it worked out. One more lap, though, and it probably wouldn't have.
No, it wouldn't have, but we had to try something. I mean, thankfully, the number 90 was his own worst enemy again tonight, and I spun out he would have probably had like a 10-second lead, but we got the jump over Ryan there was the biggest thing for second. That's what I was trying to do with two tires there, and 2 weeks in a row, strategy pays off.
Yeah, and there you see, not only did you win the race, you did it from dead last on the grid. I'm guessing your qualifying didn't go... Well, I think we saw, actually, on the broadcast, your qualifying didn't go to plan.
No, we scraped the wall coming to the green, and we went out late, hoping the track temp would cool down because it was wicked high track temp, and this thing is really sensitive to track temp on your lap times, so kind of screwed ourselves there. But thankfully, we had a few cautions there that helped put the pack back together and give us a chance to make up track position and stayed out of trouble.
Now, Scott Crump was playing strategy games all day long because he was in a similar situation to you where he started towards the back. Did you consider that at all? It seemed like you were just playing the normal strategy until that two-tire call at the end there.
No, honestly, I was kind of confused by his strategy at first because he stayed out very first caution, and I knew pitting there, well, I mean, it would have had to stay green was already right on the numbers for fuel. So, I mean, it still worked out for him pretty well. So it's pretty cool. Everyone kind of running different strategies, and I think it worked out for most of us.
Well, this is 2 wins in a row for you after you took a points lead, so you seem to be holding it, also extending it a little bit. Is this streak going to continue at New Hampshire?
I mean, we went to Indy, which is one of my favorite tracks, and we're going to New Hampshire, another favorite track. So I hope so.
It's a good time of a season to be Dylan Jones, it looks like. Anyone you'd like to thank for helping you race here today?
Just everyone at Rolling Thunder. This league is amazing. Probably best league I've been in a long time, and it's ran really well. So that's awesome. And you guys at GSRC for putting on the broadcast of these amazing races.
That certainly was amazing to watch. So from 24th to 1st, Dylan Jones, your winner here tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And just half a second behind him, Robert, you have called up with Daniel Eberhardt.
Well, Daniel, as you know, we've been saying all season, a lot of the drivers have been saying all season, it looked like you were the man to beat tonight, but a little bit of an oops there in the last pit stop there. What happened?
Yeah, they need to take the cheese grater to this track. They ruined it. I don't know what iRacing did, but we shouldn't be running 2 lanes off the top, and there's a big old hump coming out of pit road, and I found it, and it just jumped, got all 4 wheels off the ground. I spun out. I don't really make those mistakes, but when you're chasing people that you don't know what you can do strategy wise, because we only have 3 sets of tires, that's what happens. So it's really tough. This league makes it tougher on you mentally trying to figure out what strategy to do. And Dylan took 2 there, and I took 4, and Ryan took 4. So luckily I got through traffic better than Ryan did because he was by far the class of the field. He was catching me on that last run before he had to pit. Just mistake cost me this race, and pretty much cost me 5 bonus points. So I'm pretty upset with myself on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we saw your spin there, and then a little tap to the wall, just trying to. I mean, you moved forward. Had we had one more lap, I'm pretty sure you could have got him, or at least brought it to a photo finish at the line.
Yeah, if I had another lap, but we got set amount of laps and everything like that. So I mean, you got to race in between those times. So I don't know. I'm pretty upset with myself. I should have done better. I didn't know there was a bump that low coming out of pit road. I never exited that low all day, and I exited that low and found the bump. So it happens. I feel like a dummy for doing that. So it's just kind of embarrassing. But yeah, we'll go on to the next one.
Well, we won't try and focus on that anymore. I mean, absolutely great run by you today. Had it not been for that, I'm sure we would, would have been Sam talking to you for having the podium. But, definitely congratulations on the P2 today. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you to Justin for everything he's doing with Rolling Thunder. If you're not signed up, get signed up. It's one of the best leagues out there right now. Or probably just his ideas. Just I sat down and talked to him. He has amazing ideas for the next season with the Truck Series. Unfortunately, I won't be able to run that just because of the time frame it is, and it's on Sunday. So that stinks for me. But if you're out there and you're watching these races, it's pretty exciting. And thank you guys for putting on this broadcast each and every race, everything you're doing. And thank you to my wife who puts up with the madness of sim racing. I know it's probably just as annoying as me making a mistake off pit road. So, once again, thank you everybody who watched tonight.
Well, once again, congratulations, Daniel, and we will see you in the next round. And I believe Sam has caught up with our third place winner, or third place podium, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson, third place. Not sure if you heard, but Eberhard just said you were the class of the field tonight. Is that how you felt?
I, I don't know. He normally is, so it feels pretty good if he said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was catching them there at least at the end. It was hard to pit, like deciding when to pit on that last stop, and I think Dylan said he took 2 tires, which I was contemplating doing if I got closer to the end. But yeah, I mean, third place, that's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad, but you're here. I say you're right on the outside of being on the points championship fight up there. You just need one of those W's.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be nice. I really want to. I mean, we've tried. We've finally gotten strategy a little bit better. The strategy would have been a lot different this race had we not had the cautions when they did. It made it really interesting. I went kind of long on after we had that last caution just to try and see if we could make it, and I figured we were like 6 laps short, and I'm like, well, that's a tall order for fuel saving. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do that. Luckily, they had the same idea, and it was just difficult getting back through traffic. It was so hard to pass here tonight.
Yeah, we saw you in a lot of side-by-side battles. Can you talk about that? It looked like the low line was the line you had to try and make a pass, but it wasn't working.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why, but it's definitely seemed like the top line had a lot more grip tonight. I mean, when you were by yourself, you could run the bottom in the corners and drift up a little bit. Because I tried kind of running that like lane up in the corners, and it didn't feel much different when you were by yourself. But passing, man, it was just so hard. The outside car could just hold the low lane down so much and just kill all their momentum.
So you're getting closer to that win. Is New Hampshire a place where you could pull it off?
Looking at it, I'd say definitely not. But I've had a lot of good luck, and I've seemed to perform well on like the really flat short tracks. So I'm just gonna need some practice before next week and kind of go from there. I'm hoping we have at least another good run. Just, you know, trying to stay up there and maybe battle for the points lead. It's gonna be kind of difficult with the way these other guys run, like Eberhart and Jones and all them.
All right, last question. Anyone you'd like to thank for helping you come out here tonight?
Yeah, all my guys at After Dark. Luke, Randy wasn't here tonight. Josh, Justin for putting the league on. You guys for broadcast and all the drivers. We have really, really good racing this season. It's been a lot of fun. And John Gammett Designs for my paint.
Yeah, it's a pretty paint. We saw a few Mountain Dew cars out there tonight. It made you easy to pick out. Well, congrats on the third place finish, and hopefully we'll be talking to you from Victory Circle soon.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that was Ryan Johnson, your third place finisher behind Dylan Jones and Daniel Eberhart at the end of the night. Once again, Robert, a race with a lot of strategy, different tyre and fuel calls, and it all came to a crunch at the end there with lots of close racing.
Yeah, really exciting racing tonight. Really good to see, not afraid to run side by side, even though the cars were really, really loose. Really another good event by these guys, and I look forward to see how this season plays out. Little mistakes can cost you a lot.
Well, we would like to thank all of the competitors and the organisers in the Rolling Thunder Racing Series for putting on today's event and giving us a great show. Thanks to the team today, Robert, Eddie and Dougie. You can check us out on our social media, website and merchandise store, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss another moment. Our next race for this series will be the same time next Sunday as we head to New Hampshire. We also have upcoming races for our other series listed on the screen, so be sure to check those out. Mark them down in your calendar and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.